Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/nuclear revenge, where a husband received an anonymous email from a kind stranger. Let's begin. My wife is out getting laid right now. Posted by Reddit user The Unmet Friend.
Never thought I'd be here, but yet here I am. This weekend my wife and our daughter went to visit her mom. I couldn't go because I couldn't get the time off work, and we decided it would just be a girls' weekend for them. I'm a firefighter in a large southern city, and I'm on a call and gearing up when our dispatcher calls in to tell me that there is some emergency. I'm not really needed on the work call, so I get my cell phone and find a bunch of texts from my kid and a couple from a number I don't have in my phone. In the course of about 11 text messages, I learned that my daughter has gone ice skating and fallen and broken her wrist. She's in the emergency room, but cannot get treatment because no one can find my wife. The number that I don't know belongs to a friend of my wife's who has gone to the emergency room to sit with my kid. She was the chaperone for the girls who had gone skating. So I call this friend, and after a lot of hemming and hawing, she admits that wifey has gone to dinner with some random guy. Well, we always leave our location shared with the family because of my job. And sure enough, I pull up an address and Google it, and it's a fucking hotel. This was 10 p.m. It's now almost 4 hours later and she hasn't answered my texts, but she did finally call our kid. I have permission and insurance information, and she got a cast and a referral to see an orthopedist when she gets home. The friend took our daughter back to her grandmother's and texted me. She said, "I'm sorry you had to find out this way about insert guy's name here. Apparently it's been going on every time she's gone home that I haven't gone. Meanwhile, I've worked countless hours of overtime to pay off our house, take us a nice vacations, send our daughter to the most expensive private school in our city. I'm a fool."
OP, I don't believe you're a fool. Your wife is. You're out there doing your family duties, working your ass off to make a better living, and what did she do? She's banging another man in another city while visiting her parents. Well, I guess all of the family knows now at least what kind of a slut your wife is. When she gets home though, OP, force her to explain to your daughter where she was and what or who she was doing while her own daughter was in the emergency room. Lawyer up and send your wife back to her parents. Don't tolerate any more of her bullshit. Good luck, OP. And now for today's second story. Cheating ex flaunts side chick, loses his job, and she gets her graduation dress burned into oblivion. Posted by Reddit user Prestigious Smell.
This happened almost 10 years ago, so even if dots get connected, I know I'm safe as per our laws. This didn't actually happen to me, but I executed the revenge. TLDR at the end. My last year of middle school, I introduced my best friend, whom I'm gonna call Lily, to one of my arts classmates, who I'm gonna call Shitty. They dated for around 7 years, all through high school and uni, until she found right after graduation Shitty'd been cheating on her with his classmate from uni, Catty Cat. Lily and Shitty took language lessons at a small school next to a big shopping mall, and after their breakup I went with her there so she could cancel her classes. I'd been giving her grand speeches about how life would take care of teaching the guy a lesson, all this crap. After being done with cancellation fees, papers and all, we went into the mall for a feel-better dessert. And guess who was there at the food court? Shitty, who spotted me and Lily right away, and Catty Cat, who looked as white as a ghost. Shitty literally dragged Catty Cat towards us, who were both frozen because can you believe it? And forced Catty Cat, who clearly wanted to be anywhere but there, to greet Lily, and asked Lily, "Are you not gonna talk to me?" All the while with a disgusting grin. I pulled Lily from there without a word. We left the mall, walked to the bus stop, all in silence. After I had digested what had just happened, I told Lily, "You know what I said about life. Forget it, it's gonna take too long." I know what I did afterwards was illegal, and only later would I realize how catastrophic it could have been. Lily still had all of Shitty's passwords, bank account, email, cell phone, etc. And he had hers. As soon as we got home, she'd been staying with me since the breakup. I made her change all her passwords and asked her for his emails. That's all I wanted. In our country, WhatsApp is the most used social media, and we often set it to backup daily into our Google Drive or Gmail. Shitty had his backup on Gmail. I skimmed through 2 years worth of conversation with Catty Cat, complete with pics and audio files, and screenshot or cropped out the most interesting parts, such as them talking about sex in the restrooms and emergency exit at Shitty's work during his shift, bragging about how they blinded their significant others to have their escapades. Turns out Catty Cat was married. Now, I was going to send the clippings of Doom to Shitty's family, he was their golden boy. But I got a better idea after learning how bad they had fucked up. So I tracked down Shitty's boss on LinkedIn, got his work email, found Catty Cat's husband on Facebook, and using a throwaway account sent them the bomb. Heard through the grapevine Shitty got fired, but cried literally for a second chance, and was on probation at work. One more fuck up and bye-bye. Not the outcome that I wanted, but meh. Fast forward a few months, I was talking to my cousin and she was telling me about how her fiancé's colleague was traveling all over the world. And he recently posted some pictures at a bar made of ice, and she wanted to travel there too. She showed me the picture the guy had posted. Lo and behold, traveling colleague was Catty Cat's ex-husband, Rick. I asked her how she knew Rick, and she told me he was her fiancé's friend and work colleague. I didn't tell her about my shenanigans, only said Rick's ex-wife and my best friend's ex had cheated on her, and inconspicuously, I hope, asked my cousin how Rick was, how it must have been a sad breakup for him, and did she spill the tea. So, Catty Cat had introduced Rick to Shitty during her graduation ceremony a few weeks before I sent the bomb, saying, "Look, this is the friend who helped me with my graduation project." Rick had allowed Shitty and Catty Cat to use his computer at home for said project. Turns out they were fucking on his bed while he was working his ass off to pay for her sorry one, and she made him shake hands with her lover. Rick was a programmer, Catty Cat was from the countryside, and she'd been living in the city with him for a few years. Rick had an awesome salary. He paid for everything so Catty Cat could focus on uni. But one day, he received some evidence his wife was cheating on him with the guy he'd shaken hands. The same guy he allowed to use his computer in his house to help his wife do her graduation project. Rick got her graduation dress, set it on fire, shoved her into the car, drove all the way to her family's home in the countryside, reportedly dragged her into her parents' house by the hair, made her kneel and tell her mother and father what she'd been doing. Her father was so distressed, he had a minor stroke, and her mother kicked her out and cut her off from the family. As far as I know, last I checked was 5 years ago, they were still no contact. Rick threw her out of his house, she moved in with Shitty's family, and Rick, now with his salary bitch free, was living la vida loca, going to ice bars in neighboring countries. And I was desperate. Had Rick been 1% madder, he could have burned her along with the dress. Her father could have died after my interference. I didn't calculate how Rick could react at all. I called Lily, told her all about it, lost my sleep over it for weeks, even considered confessing to what I did. Lily asked me to let it go. What was done, to take this as a lesson and let life run its course the next time, as I'd initially said it would. I'm not proud of it, and even though I don't lose sleep over it anymore, I still feel somewhat guilty. Confessing here is kind of cathartic though. Edit. Fixed some mistakes now that I've stopped shaking and am able to function again. Hope now it's easier to understand. I rushed when wrote the first time round. TLDR. Lily is my best friend, Shitty is her ex. Catty Cat was his side chick, Rick was her husband. Catty Cat introduced husband to lover on her grad ceremony, they shook hands. Shitty forced an encounter between Lily and Catty Cat after the breakup. I sent Shitty's boss and Rick evidence of what was going on. Shitty lost his job. Rick divorced Catty Cat after burning her graduation dress and making her tell her parents why they were getting divorced.
Look man, I understand your guilt, but also, fuck them for cheating. They got what they deserve. Don't worry about it too much, OP. You did the right thing. Whatever happened, it happened because of them, not you. It's not your fault. Don't lose sleep over it. And now for today's final story. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she's entitled to do what she wants for her wedding, but I don't need to attend it? Posted by Reddit user No Cartoonist.
My sister is a very classic golden child in our family. She was the first girl and my mom always wanted a daughter. My older brother was a disappointment to mom, and when I, the second girl, came along, mom already had her perfect daughter, so she never had much time for me. Our dad was one of those dads who worked all the time and left all child raising to mom and was not much of a family man. My brother and I are close. Our sister likes to use us, but she only ever wants us for what she wants and has never been a good sister to us. A few times she was upset to be left out of something, and if we ever felt bad, it soon faded because she would try to make the rules for everything. She did not change as an adult. We barely pass ourselves with her, but she has tried to make us a huge part of her life. Being part of her life isn't really rewarding though, so I keep my distance. So does my brother. She got engaged a few months ago. She asked me to be her bridesmaid and in the same breath told me I would need to change my hair. I have my hair dyed. Would need to get used to wearing heels, never liked them, never wore them, cannot walk in them. And she told me I would need to join her for 5 a.m. yoga wedding planning every Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, and I would need to take 2 weeks off work around the wedding to prepare and get everything set up. I turned down the bridesmaid invite. When she tried to get her wedding date finalized, she asked my brother and I when we would be free. And she told us to take into account that we would need to rent fancy cars or a joint car to drive to the place. She had a list of cars she found acceptable because she wants all her guests to arrive in style. She also told us we would need at least 4K saved to afford everything she was planning. She also wanted to do a family gathering the night before the wedding at the venue, and that would require paying money to take part. And this place is expensive, even on a shitty day. My brother told her any date would work and not to worry, but he was being sarcastic. I told her not to plan her wedding around me because I could never afford that stuff, so it would be best I don't go. My sister didn't take me seriously, but then when I RSVP'd no to her wedding, she called and asked why I am judging her wedding and why I won't go. I told her she can do what she wants, but I don't need to attend. And I am not going to run myself into the ground to follow the rules of her wedding. She told me I am her sister. I should attend her wedding. Am I the asshole?
If she wants you so bad at her wedding, why don't she just pay for your share? Because you've already told her that you can't afford it. Oh, that's right. She can't afford it herself, so she's demanding the people around to pay for her delusional ego trip of a wedding. Oh man, that poor fiancé of hers. You're not the asshole here, OP. Stand your ground. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.